Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today you're checking out a Fallout 76 build based on the shotgun. This is my Enforcer build. So this is a mid-level build, I would say. It gets really strong at about level 25 and above. Really good damage, really good survivability, and it's just a lot of fun to play. So I thought I would share how I'm setting it up. I'm going to go over the weapons, the gear, the items, as well as my stats and perk cards, all coming up next. Okay, so let's get started with a quick look at the stats on the build. Currently just past level 30. You can see my damage there, 69. My resistances are pretty standard, I guess, for power armor. You can see about 270 health, 120 AP. Some of the effects I'm using here, obviously the 4 strength from power armor. I've got some different food effects also, giving me some bonuses there. And then let's go through the special stats, and I'll kind of tell you how they play into the build. So strength is really important. It's at 11 right now, again, boosted by our power armor. And with a high strength, you're going to get access to a lot more of the shotgun based perk cards, because those do fall for the most part in the strength category. So starting off, you definitely want to invest a lot into strength. Perception does not need to be this high. I have it at 7 right now. You could probably go with a little bit less at this point in the game. I do have this kind of high because I was a rifle build initially, but you can definitely use less in this category. Endurance is helpful. I have 5 right now. I would definitely be putting more into this further on. It gives you increased health and less. Basically, you can sprint further with less drain on your AP, so that's really good. Charisma is at 3, and that's just playing into one specific perk that we're using right now. I'll show that in a minute. I don't think it really needs to be any higher at this point. Intelligence is actually really important because this helps with your mods as far as your shotgun. It also helps your gun to break less, so I will be putting in a few more here as well as I level up. Agility is at 6 right now, just helping with our AP, and there are some good perks in here, a few that are specific to shotguns as well, so I'll talk about that in a minute. And then luck is a little bit low right now, but I will be putting in more in the future in that category. So next, let's talk about the weapon and armor setup, starting with the weapon. Obviously, we're focused on shotguns on this build. The reason why I found it to be really fun and really effective early game, especially in things like close quarters combat and some of the horde type events where you have a lot of enemies coming in at you quickly. Shotguns are actually really, really good. Better in a lot of cases than something like a rifle, where you'll get a couple of good shots off from a distance, but then pretty much all the enemies in the game are going to close in on you anyways. And then that rifle's not going to be as effective, or that sniper rifle or whatever, that pistol. The fact that the shotgun gets more powerful the closer your enemy is actually kind of plays in with the AI that this game has. So it's really good setup all around. What I'm using right now is a automatic combat shotgun, and you can get these starting from about level 20 to level 25. These will just start dropping randomly out in the world. You don't need to be anywhere specific, just killing Scorched or super mutants or whatever. You can pick these up, and the reason why this is really good is the firing rate. And I can just demonstrate really quick. Is you have a lot quicker firing rate than your standard shotgun would have. So that's kind of what makes the build effective, is you have a quicker firing rate on the combat shotgun. Beforehand, before you get up to like level 20, you can use some of the other options that I have here. So you can use the double barrel, you can use a pump action, whatever you tend to pick up. These will be slower as far as firing rate and reload speed, but they are, again, pretty effective as long as you're in close range. And then something that I always have is I just have an extra melee weapon. Just in case I have a few enemies left, I don't want to waste any more shells. You can just pull this out, finish off a few enemies. So I've got a pull hook, level 30. You can see the damage is really high, actually. because it's a two-handed weapon, so this can pretty much one-shot a lot of enemies as well. So moving on to armor next. Obviously power armor is going to be the best bet for a build like this because you're in melee range for the most part. You're having enemies run in at you and you need a lot of damage resistance. The more damage resistance you have on the build, the better. The less damage you're going to take and the more effective you'll be. So you can pick up power armor in the game as early as level 15. There's the Raider power armor that starts about that level. You can also start getting the standard T45 at about level 20 or 25, I believe. I have level 25 here, which is when I started using it. And there's just tons of spawns out in the world. You can look for these anywhere. Anywhere you see a power armor chassis, just keep checking back and you'll start to pick up these pieces. Definitely pick up a full set as soon as you can. Even if you're not level 25 yet, you'll want to just pick it up and hang on to it, because once you get to that level 25 or 20 mark, it's going to make the build that much more effective. I am moving up in levels now, so level 30 I have access to the T51, which you can see the damage resistance is a bit better. I've got 45 on the helmet, for example, instead of 34 here. So the resistances are getting better as you go up in models. The next level would be the T60. So that's something you can look for as well. But yeah, power armor definitely the way to go as far as being effective with this type of setup. And then as far as what kind of other things you'll need, definitely buff out is decent for this, but what I prefer if I have enough is going to be Psycho, and that's because you get the extra damage and extra damage resistance. So anytime you have like a big fight about to happen, you definitely want to pull one of these out and get that going. And then you can also use Psycho Tats as well. I don't have as many of these. The difference here is that Psycho has better damage resistance, which is, I kind of prefer this because the shotgun has a lot of damage anyways. And then the Psycho Tats has more damage and a little bit less resistance. But either one will work in a pinch for sure. So let's also talk about what the best mods are going to be for the combat shotgun. Right now I have just a few. I think I have a specific magazine. So I have the drum magazine, and that's for extra ammo capacity. This is going to bring up your ammo capacity on a combat shotgun from 8 to 12. And this is one of the most basic mods that you'll get first. So I definitely recommend adding that as soon as possible. Beyond that, there's a couple of other ones here that are good, but they also require Gunsmith rank 4. That's one of the other reasons why you will want a high intelligence if you're going to be modding your combat shotgun. You have things like the Stinging magazine or the Swift magazine. Swift magazine is really good. It's going to improve your reload speed as well as the ammo capacity. So it's kind of combining two mods in one. But again, that does require Gunsmith rank 4. I don't have that yet, but that's something I'm definitely wanting to get for this build. So you can mod out the receiver as well. You're going to get an improved rate of fire. I just have the automatic receiver here. The range does go down just a little bit, but I don't see that as an issue because it's really a close quarters style combat that we are using for the most part. So you'll get a quicker rate of fire there over just the standard receiver. Obviously, one of the better choices would be a tweaked receiver here because you get both the improved rate of fire and crit shot damage. But again, that's another Gunsmith perk. You can do things like mod the stock. Stabilized stock is pretty good. And then sights I'm not really worried about too much. I just have a standard sight. So next up, I want to talk about the different perk cards that you should be checking for as you level up, again, to about level 30. Beyond that, I'll make a couple of recommendations, but I'm going to start with sort of the most important cards in each special category. So in strength, you obviously want to focus on the shotgun perks, and there's a lot here. You want to start with shotgunner. I would recommend getting that at least to level 2 or 3. You also have expert shotgunner, master shotgunner as you move up the levels. So definitely pick those up as well. Another one that's good to pick up is scatter shot. What's really nice about this is not only the weight reduction, but the reload time is affected, which is a big help. So I'd recommend at least 2 into scatter shot if you can afford that. A few other cards that are great to pick up, and you'll get these early on. Traveling Pharmacy is going to reduce the weight of chems, including your stim packs. And then Pack Rat is going to reduce the weight of all your junk items. In Perception, you can pick up Concentrated Fire to improve your VATs, though I don't use VATs a lot on the build, but it is nice once in a while to have that option. You have another perk that's specific to shotguns. It's called Skeet Shooter, and this has an improved accuracy and spread for your shotgun. I would recommend picking up at least 1 level of that. And then you can just kind of fill in the rest. I do like the Awareness perk. This lets you view your target's damage resistance while in VATs. And then I also like, obviously, the Pick Lock perk. You might want to pick up 2 to 3 levels of that just to help you open locks while you're out in the world. In Endurance, I can recommend the Lead Belly perk as just something you want to pick up on most builds anyways. I'd pick up at least 2 of these so you reduce the amount of radiation you get from eating and drinking. Along with that, a couple perks that will really help with the build is the Cannibal perk. Cannibal is interesting because it kind of restores health, gets rid of your hunger based on corpses that you eat out in the world, so it's kind of an interesting way to keep your build alive. And then along with that, I also recommend Adamantium Skeleton, which reduces limb damage because you will be taking a bit of punishment on this build. For Charisma, I recommend picking up at least 2 levels, if not 3, of the Lone Wanderer perk. This will increase your AP regen and help you take less damage while you're solo. Remember, it is a solo perk card though, so if you plan to group up all the time, you'll want to swap in something else. In Intelligence, we mentioned the Gunsmith perk, which is really important as far as modding your combat shotgun. It's also great because if you get this ranked up, it's going to mean that your combat shotgun is going to break slower. So that is important. Along with that, you can also do Makeshift Warrior. This is the melee version of that perk because you will use a melee weapon every now and again. Melee weapons will break slower with this perk, same as Gunsmith. I also like the First Aid perk in this category. I usually have at least 2 into this, so my stim packs are going to restore an extra 30% or more lost health when I use those. In Agility, this is where we have access to the Enforcer perk, which is where this build gets its name. So your shotguns have a chance to stagger and a chance to cripple, and this can be really effective as you rank up this card. Definitely pick up at least 1 of those once you hit level 30. You want to pick up Action Boy as well. At least 2 of these will help you regen your AP points 30% faster. And then a couple extra ones that I like Marathoner, so you're going to consume less action points when you sprint, 30% less if you're using 2. And then I also like the Through Hiker perk, which is going to reduce the weight of all the food and drinks that you're carrying. Finally, for luck, I like the Pharma perk. This is going to give me an extra chance to grab a stim pack or other aid item when I search a chem container. Some other ones that you could try include Luck of the Draw. Luck of the Draw gives you a chance to repair your weapon when you damage an enemy, and there's also a similar one for armor. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this Fallout 76 build video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Fallout 76 videos in the future. Until then, I'll see you around in the next video. Peace.